But for more comedy relief, we go to the Twitter feed of the UN Secretary-General, Antonio Guterres. He ignores human rights but pretends to care about them. This is his latest tweet, pretending to know what women are. It's 2024 and yet achieving gender equality remains a distant goal. We will only reduce poverty and inequality when we truly see women's rights as our common objective. He goes on to say it'll take 137 years to end extreme poverty among women if we don't act now for women's rights. Remember, this is from the mob who took 5 months to acknowledge that Jewish women had been raped by Islamists from Hamas. This is a mob whose own UN Women organisation tweet rubbish like this. Now remember, they're advocating for women's rights, but here's what UN Women tweeted back in 2020. Trans women are women. At the end of the day, every woman is a woman. Women are multifaceted, intergenerational, international. They are limitless, formless. Liz, women are formless.
We are formless.
What the hell does that even mean?
If anyone can be a woman, you can be a purple people eater. You too are a woman. We have to be formless in order for this to work.
Liz, I haven't finished the tweet yet. It goes on to say, women are the world.
Oh, wow.
How can you advocate for women's rights if you say we are the women? Women are so non-specific, they are actually formless. Let me go one step further. The UN website features a page on transgenderism, and they say, and I quote, "The UN has affirmed the right of trans persons to legally recognise their gender identity and change their gender in official documents, including birth certificates, without being subjected to onerous and abusive requirements." Not only does the United Nations promote self-identification when it comes to gender, but the website goes on to propose that children also have the right to be recognised by the gender of their choice. And it goes even further, saying that transgendered people deserve compensation in nations where their gender identity, as chosen by themselves, has not been legally recognised. But Caleb, there's another problem, of course, with the UN Secretary-General saying he's all about women's rights when he doesn't know what a woman is, and that is that he seems to be in bed most of the time and cozying up to some of the great abusers of women's rights.
I thought you were about to say he was not in bed with women, so he wouldn't know what they were. In fact, no one at the UN seems to know what a woman is.
That's a question mark.
But to quote directly from the UN's most recent report on gender equality, it says, no country has all relevant laws to prohibit discrimination, prevent gender-based violence, uphold equal rights in marriage and divorce, guarantee equal pay and provide full access to sexual and reproductive health. And so the UN, caring so much about this, guess who they put in charge to chair their Council on Gender Equality this year? Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia. I mean, how can they sit there? How can Antonio Guterres and anyone else at the UN genuinely sit there and say, oh, yes, gender equality is the biggest problem on the face of the earth right now, when Saudi Arabia, where until about 5 minutes ago a woman couldn't even drive a car, is chairing their Gender Equality Council, for heaven's sake.
And notice they're so passionate about women's rights, but won't say a word about child brides. Won't say a word about female genital mutilation taking place in several of their member countries. Won't say a word about the millions of females who don't have access to education, cannot read, have no way of working their own way out of an oppressive regime whatsoever. They are voiceless, they are unheard, they are unseen. This bastion of human rights, the United Nations, does not come to their rescue. No, they're too busy getting Saudi Arabia to make sure that they are chairing this committee on women's rights. It's utterly laughable. How does anyone pay attention to this one world government in any way, shape or form?